What's up, everybody? Today we are doing our best J-God, and we're going to talk about some things while we spectate randoms. So, of course, I'm going to drop in. I'm going to splat. This is Resurgent, so I'm going to splat again. Unfortunately, it's duos because Raven doesn't listen and we don't have Resurgent solos. So we're going to spectate a duo while we talk about everything that was going on at World Series of Warzone, the drama that came out of Day 2, and just what I thought of the overall production as somebody who was watching from home. I had some friends who were there as well, and I talked to them a little bit. So I'll let you know what some people that were there thought, what I thought, and all the drama that came after. So let's go ahead and splat here. We'll start spectating, and of course, I'll commentate on the spectating a little bit while we do it as well. Let's go ahead and get our second splat in here, so we can just start spectating. All right, so now that we're going to be spectating, oh, we got a guy laying on square by. Let's see, so we placed 24th. Open up a cache. Alright, so we'll start off with the drama at the end of World Series of Warzone. If you pay attention to the comp scene at all, you probably figured Falcons were winning, just like so many people that were even at World Series of Warzone probably did. I heard on the broadcast that the Falcons had won 30 out of their 34 last tournaments going to World Series of Warzone. They're the defending champs from last year. If you don't know, that's Shifty, Hisoka, Biffle. Arguably the 1, 2, and 3, whatever order you want to put them in, best players in the world. And so they had a huge first day. They won 3 out of 6 games. They were top 2 in 2 other games. And so they went into the second day with 40 bonus points towards the 100 needed for match point, or the 150, sorry, needed for match point. And they struggled for a while. They couldn't get good placement. You know, they were getting some top placement, but they weren't winning games. And they weren't doing that well, and they were able to maintain a lead throughout, and finally they got to match point. So they get to match point, their game comes, and they land in their normal pop-off power, and nobody lands on them. And so this is where the drama came in. The drama was that, why is nobody landing on this team? Why are nobody landing on the only team that's in match point? Why wouldn't you have a bunch of teams that aren't going to win money land on match point? So if you don't know, there was the top 1 through 20 was getting paid for teams, and teams 21 through 40 were getting $0. So everyone's thinking, if you're not in the top 20, why wouldn't you land on them? Well, if you win a game, it's top 2 multiplier. And for most teams, there's some teams that people have some suspicions about now that they played on LAN and their entire teams were bad. But if you're in that 21 through 25, maybe even 21 to 30, I don't remember what the points worked out to be, you are one good game away from now being in a money position. So you're not going to want to land on the team that's won 30 out of 34 tournaments, is the defending World Series of Warzone champs. You're not going to want to land on that team. Ooh, tough spot here for these guys. It looks like he was getting shot by 2, and his teammate, I think, is the other one in that building. Who looks like he's about to get pushed. But if you're in close to money position, you're not throwing away a game, and you're not going to land on Biffle, who we'll get into more of his situation that was unfair to him here in a second after we talk about the drama. But Biffle, I saw the KDs today for... I've never gone through this tunnel on Rebirth Island. I always die when I've tried to go in the other entrance because someone shoots me. But if you're close to that money, you're not going to land on Biffle, who had a 4.95. See, this guy's in trouble now. You're not going to land on Biffle who had a 4.95 KD against 117 other of the best players of 2023 in Warzone. You're not going to take that chance. You're not going to throw away your game when all of them had like 3+ KDs at the World Series of Warzone. So if you're already in that money position, you're not going to, or close to the money, you're not going to throw that away. And then there was, well, okay, so 5 or 10 teams don't do it. Well, what about the other 10 to 15 teams? I think Breadman, who is the mouse and keyboard goat, if you somehow don't know who he is and you're watching this, you probably know who he is. Somebody called Lack vs. the World on Twitter said, this is the mentality of MFs going home with no money. No wonder no one landed on the Falcons. Bunch of FEM boys. And essentially, it was a clip of Bread talking about, hey, tough day. You know, we tried our best. The Falcons are good. GG's to them, right? That was kind of the synopsis of the tweet, or the clip that he took of Bread. And Bread said, I don't think an M&K player landing on Falcons would have changed the outcome today. Remember, Bread is on M&K, and he clipped specifically Bread. That's why Bread's responding in that fashion. He said, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt and hope this is a message directed towards the entirety of the leaderboard and not just at our team, but it's definitely a weird comment. It's definitely weird because he called him a bunch of femboys. I don't know if we're actually allowed to say that. But so he's trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, thinking that it's not just directed at Bread. So that's not really important. But then he says, I clearly am not happy with how we played today, but if you think a team who got slammed today, and unfortunately Joe, Jace, and Bread played about as bad as they could ever play. In fact, I think Joe's KD was like a 0.6 something. Jace was like a 0.9 something, and Bread was like a 113. Like, definitely not their standard. Who got slammed today, landing on them would actually do anything. You don't understand competitive Warzone. And that's kind of the point I've already been making. If you are a team who's not playing well, why would you go land on a team who won 3 out of 6 the day before, two second places in the other 3 games, and was the defending champs and winning 30 out of 34. They have been in a groove for a year and a half now, and they've just been destroying things, which also shout out to Shifty. When he first came into the comp scene and dominated, everyone called him a cheater. He got blacklisted from tournament groups, and, you know, he's made his way into being one of the strongest competitors ever in Warzone, and maybe across any BR. And then he said they would literally just pull their chute, see 100 people, which obviously is an exaggeration. You know, if it was the whole bottom half of the lobby, it would have been 60 people, and go somewhere else. GG's to Falcons, and I'll stand by anything I said in the clip. Wouldn't want it any other way, and we didn't deserve it today. So, first of all, shout out Bread for being humble. Shout out Bread recognizing greatness in the Falcons. But he's exactly right. If the Falcons jumped out of a plane and a bunch of people jumped with them, they would have pulled their chute, saw everybody was landing at their spot and pop-off power, and they would have gone, okay, there's free POIs around the map. Let's float to somewhere else. Because at that point, they're playing for match point. And so it would have been really useless. Oh, these people are boring. I wish we could switch who we're spectating. All right, so his teammates got loadout. He's got dual Stinger pistols, and they're just kind of hiding. We got the worst people to spectate. I mean, the bounty contest doesn't help, but we got the worst people to spectate. Anyways, so Bread's point is exactly what I think everybody should be thinking. Besides ignoring the teams that I pointed that would be in the money position, the Falcons are not stupid. Any tournament, you know, you see it if you watch ALGS, which I honestly prefer over World Series of Warzone. But if you watch ALGS, in the match point format, once teams reach match point, if it's just one team, teams like to land on. Now, they don't get to, you can't pull a shoot in Apex, but you see teams dive onto the match point team's POI when it's just one of them. You do see it. So I think that's some of the logic is we see it in Apex, which has been doing match point for a while, whereas Warzone, World Series of Warzone, I believe this was their first year doing match point. I don't remember about last year. I know the ones in Warzone 1, they didn't. But it makes sense in Apex because you can't pull your shoot and glide. It doesn't make sense in Warzone where people can stop in the air essentially and evaluate their landing spot and go somewhere else. So everybody's saying that. I know it would have been exciting and people wanted the tournament to keep going, but it just doesn't make sense. And the whole drama over it or calling out the rest of the field is already bad enough, but the people that are calling out the field are all people that were watching from home, because either you're like me, who you could never dream of being that good at video games, or people who tried to qualify and didn't. Some of them didn't even make LCQs. This Lack versus the World, who I'm not going to say his actual username on Twitter, he seems like he's not, he might be really good, but he's not in anybody, and he was watching from home just like anybody else. So that was the drama that surrounded World Series of Warzone, which, other than some stuff we're about to talk about, I thought went really well. I thought even with the Falcons winning the tournament, it was really exciting. And at the end of the day, it seemed like they were just predestined to win. They struggled and struggled, and they finally got into match point without getting a single win, which, you know, to get 110 points and never lose the lead without ever getting a win shows you how much they were fragging out. I mean, like I said, Biffle had almost a 5 KD against 117 of the best players in the world. So they were absolutely fragging out. But even in their struggles, they were still getting good kills and all that. And then if you watched World Series of Warzone, oh my God, get me back to Lincoln Osiris, I guess. If you watched World Series of Warzone, you saw that they rotated out of pop-off perfectly, got great positioning. Hisoka's their IGL. He called great rotations, great positioning, and then they even had zone pull towards them when they were finally in match point. So it was definitely their weekend to win, and congratulations to the Falcons. So that's kind of the summary of the drama, my thoughts on the drama. Now getting into actual World Series of Warzone itself. Day one, if you watched it, was an absolute disaster. It was, I think, 7 or 7.5 hours from the start of game one to the end of the solo YOLO. The 6 games that were there to earn placement to get bonus points for your points towards match point in the second day. Like I said, the Falcons completely dominated. And there was one point where there was 2 hours in between. And now from some, which we'll get to why in a second. But as somebody who was at home, it was frustrating because, you know, obviously I don't have to watch it, but I wanted to watch it. And it took 7 hours to play 7 games of Warzone when games are 20 to 25 minutes max. And if you just played them nonstop back to back to back, of course, that would be... if it's 20 minutes, it's 140 minutes. That's 2 hours and 20 minutes. So even if you gave a 15-minute break in between all of them, that's another 90 minutes. So we're talking just under 4 hours. So that shows you how bad the delays were. And so from somebody from home, that's not that big of a deal. I walked my dog. I got food. I watched TikTok. Whatever. I did things around the house and entertained myself. But... for the people that were there, and I did talk to a couple friends that I had that were able to make it out to World Series of Warzone, they were entertained by being able to be with friends of theirs and hang out in the environment and the event, but it was a slog, and it was boring, and it was tiresome, and it was wearing people out waiting so long between matches, because there's only so much you can do. You obviously can't leave the venue. How much can you walk around to concessions? I mean, you can walk around and try to meet people, meet up with your friends, whatever, but in a 7-hour day where... only 3 hours of it is action, is boring. And of course, there's the issues with Warzone is not really optimized for custom games. God, of course we get these 2 people. I mean, they got some decent kills, but they are playing super ratty. But, you know, they also want to give breaks so people can go to the bathroom, people can get concessions without missing action, and... like I said, the custom lobby system in Warzone is not built super great. So it also takes a long time to get everybody lobby codes, get everybody into the lobby, and get things started when you got to get 120 players in. The biggest issue that happened on day one was Biffle was on a GPU that was performing at about half the rate of everybody else's GPUs. So they had to switch out his, and there was a rumor that somebody else's was also not the correct GPU. So they had to switch out his, and they probably did a bunch of PC checks. So the day one did not run smoothly at all. You had the bad GPU, you had the long delays, you had the stream on Twitch and YouTube crash once for 15 minutes, which they had to fix. So it was a long day with a lot of problems for such a big organization that's been doing this for a while. Overall, I thought the action was a lot of fun to watch, especially the end games. Every end game had a bunch of teams, and it was super competitive. And overall, I thought the gameplay was really good. I think the tournament could run smoother, and they could... do things a little better. They could make sure they check their GPUs, but they also, when they got acquired by Microsoft, Microsoft fired a bunch of the esports division owned by Activision Blizzard. So hopefully that all gets fixed next year. Hopefully we have competitors all with the right hardware. I like the match point format. I like having 2 days of World Series of Warzone. I just hope it all runs more smoothly. And as for the drama, the whole drama was stupid. Nobody was truly out of the money, especially... it's one thing if, you know, 2 or 3 teams are match point and like, all right, this tournament's going to end. But when it's only one team that's been kind of struggling all day, I think landing on them was stupid. Those are my thoughts on World Series of Warzone. Overall, good experience from home. Everybody that was there said it was overall a good experience that was there, and they had a lot of fun hanging out with their favorite streamers, their fellow streamers and squad. And I hope I get to go next year. Just didn't work out for me this year. So we're gonna go and spectate out this last duo fight, which we're on a better team now. They got it's 2v1. This is game over. Shout out to RXT Rosaxi, Rextra Zaxi. I don't know what his name is. Retro Zaxi. And shout out to Ghost for winning that game. But like I said, those are my thoughts on World Series of Warzone. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell down below. My Twitch is linked down below, and all my socials are linked down below if you want to follow me anywhere else. Always makes my day. But I will see you in the next video. Get frying. Have a good day. Bye.